The following program was made possible thanks to the generous support of our Kickstarter backers.
Well, first Holmes was born, then he got fat, bald, and tired.
Sup, Holmes?
Beware! Your host, Jonathan Holmes!
Everyone, I'm so sorry I'm late. My in-laws were in here adjusting a baby carriage, and then my friggin' microphone didn't work. And Sandro, you are as patient as a peach. You're a patient peach, and I can't.
Okay, I didn't know that peaches were patients, but that's okay.
Oh, have you ever seen an impatient peach? Have you ever seen a peach being fussy and demanding more? I've never seen it. I want to see.
Never saw a peach. Never saw peach, and not any other kind of fruit too.
Me neither. I pronounce your last name Tomasetti. Tomasetti, very nice. And
yeah.
All this time, I had guessed you were Italian because I was being racist, probably. But it turns out you live in Brazil.
Yeah, but I'm Italian heritage. I have Italian heritage, so you're not wrong.
Oh, neat. We had Thais Wheeler on the show not that long ago. Wheeler. She didn't actually know exactly how it should be pronounced. She didn't care. She was actually, I believe, of German descent, but grew up in Brazil. So it seems like in Brazil, there are a lot of folks, not unlike the United States, where it's not necessarily a given or default that you are of Brazilian heritage. There's a lot of people from different countries there, it sounds like.
Yeah. Brazil is kind of known for that everyone here it's of mixed race. So I know a lot of persons with different backgrounds and different heritage. It's normal.
Oh, that's really cool. But unlike the United States, which is also known for that, Brazil is known, at least as Thais was telling me, it can be tough. She was saying that the country can sometimes be treacherous. And specifically, she was talking a lot about how the bus stops, you'll go to the bus, but you don't know if the bus is going to stop and when it will stop. Maybe that's just the area of Brazil she's in. How have you found it? Have you lived in Brazil your whole life, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, I lived in Brazil my whole life, but I lived in the south part of Brazil. The south part of Brazil is a bit richer than the north part. So things are a bit more organized, but Brazil is disorganized the whole thing. So I've missed buses because of late schedules or earlier schedules. We really don't know.
Huh, interesting. So yeah, sounds like Thais's report is holding true. And you recently put out a game called Gryphon Night Epic. Was that the first game? I did a little, or at least I tried to do a little research on you. Cyber Rhino Studios, your game studio. I didn't see any other games there, so I didn't know if I missed like a big rich history of game development that you had before Gryphon Night Epic, or whether that was your first game.
No, it's the first game of the company. Cyber Rhino Studios is a very new company. We have only worked in Gryphon Night, but I've worked for 12 years in the industry as a game designer. I worked in Taekwondo. It's a big game here in Brazil, but I don't think it went far very much to other countries, but it's a known game here in Brazil. I worked there for 4 years, more or less.
That was the name of the game or the game studio?
Taekwondo, it's the name of the game. The studio is called Hopon.
Oh, Taekwondo, is that how it's said?
Yeah.
What the heck is that? Tell me about that game.
Yeah, it's an MMO of spaceships. It had a strong economy system, but it never worked really well. You know, it didn't create a critical mass of people playing it, so it never expanded.
Huh? But in Brazil, it's pretty big. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest companies in Brazil in a matter of people. But it's not one of the most successful, I think. Behold is more known. Aquiles is it's another one that is very known here, and it's not an independent company. You know, it's more of a corporate big company from Brazil.
Sure. So was their big game big when you started working for them, or did you get involved in the development of that game before it had taken off?
I only worked in Taekwondo for 4 years. It was my first real job at all. So I started as a game designer and worked there for 4 years. But
and did you work on their big game, or did you work on other games and their big game as well, or?
No, just this one, just Taekwondo in Hoplon. After Hoplon, I worked in you know that games from Big Fish, that ones with time management and stuff like that.
Sure,
I worked in
Facebook
one
and whatnot.
Yes. I worked in one called I forgot the name.
I know the feeling. I forget something I did yesterday. Something. But
the company was called Arara, and the game was about an airport and a time management inside an airport.
Okay.
I'll probably remember the name in the middle of the interview, and it's that name.
Happens to me all the time. Something about a live stream, the part of the brain that it uses in order to concentrate on the fact that you're live talking to people and it's going to be recorded and they're going to listen to it later. Whatever part of the brain gets eaten up by that thought process, it'll also like blocks memory from
it's probably working too hard in making you sweat and be nervous.
Well, you're doing great. You're great to talk to. I appreciate it already. So how did you get your first job in game development? How did that come to be? I chose to be a game developer when I was 12. Whoa. And about the time I got to university, I asked one friend of a cousin that worked in the industry. I said like that, I'm going to enter in computer science. I want a job. Before I entered in the university. And he said to me, okay, if you're in Inflamatio, it's the name of the company. So I entered I passed the vestibular. It's a test here that they choose the best applicants, and you get inside the university. And he allowed me to work with them as an intern. I worked there for, I think, 1 year. And after that, this guy. At that point?
18.
Oh, so you were just out of high school age. You were still a teenager. Pretty amazing.
Yes. And after that, this guy went to Hoplon. The company closed. Inflamatio closed. I went to another company called Onidia. There I stood with, I think, 1 year as intern again. And when this guy went to Hoplon, he brought me there. You know, he asked for me to work with him.
And from that was your first official job?
Yes, my first official job.
Huh. So you were just 20 or so. How old are you now?
Yes, I'm 29 now.
Oh, yeah? Oh, you're still young. That's great. That beard gives you 10 years of
the beard and the ever-growing forehead.
Trust me, I know all about that. I've got a little bit of myself right now. Well, I recently brought home a newborn baby boy. It's definitely cut into my shaving my face time. You know, you get one stroke down, and all of a sudden, and that's the end of your shaving. So I've been trying to at least keep it even.
Half a beer.
I did that once, but then I chickened out. Maybe next week. So, geez, at 20, you're in the industry. Did you feel like you had made it? That your dreams, ever since you were 12, to be a video game developer, did you feel like you had arrived at that point? Not even 21 years old yet, or did you feel like you still had some ways to go?
Yeah, it was great. The first year in the company was awesome. Everything was new. Everything was marvelous, you know. From there on, some things got out of hand inside the company, and the work was not very great. Was not great anymore. So from there on, I wanted to make outro games, indie games, and this stuck in my mind since then. You know, more or less 23 years old.
And that was 6 years ago. So this was around, yeah, that was 2009, sounds like.
Yeah.
Around, was it games like Braid, Castle Crashers, a lot of the others that people name that hit Xbox Live? Those are the games that kind of, So when you got into the industry and you'd been in there for a little while, did it turn out to not be the way that you had hoped it was? I don't know, when you were 12, if you had an idea of what working in the game industry would be like, and if so, did that idea end up not matching with what working in the industry actually was?
I always thought I would have a bit more freedom than I had on these first years, but it was the right way to do, because I was inexperienced. So it's okay that I didn't have the whole freedom I wanted.
Sure.
I got there now. I got in this place now with Cyber Rhino, you know. So it was a stepping stone to the big dream of having a game.
Sure. Did you find that the kind of games that were popular changed as well? You said you ended up working on a time management airport sim that you struggle to remember the name of. That said to me anyway, not that you're a forgetful Jones type guy, but that like this, if you had worked on like a Mega Man or a Castlevania or something, I bet you wouldn't have forgotten the name of that. So did you find that games had changed in a way that they weren't necessarily things you were going to be excited about if you got a job working on them?
Yeah, for sure. I think I had to make some concessions. So I still worked in the industry and worked in games that I don't like very much. I can understand why people like it, but they are not exactly for me.
Sure.
So I wish to do other games, you know, and that's always the goal for me.
Right.
To make this independent outro game. Yeah.
Give me that phrase again, that term, altero game?
Ultra, I don't know if it's okay. It's here in Brazil we call it jogo autoral. It's from author, where like
Hideo Kojima. People call him an author all the time. Like someone who leaves their particular style and mark on a medium that could be mass. It could be for a mass audience like film, but still they manage to capture a certain style that speaks to who they are as an individual, somehow marrying art and craft together to create something that's both appealing to everybody, but also speaking with a unique voice. Not an easy thing to do.
Exactly.
I didn't know they call them author. Not at all.
Yeah, it's not the way we talk here. I don't know if you have this term there in US, but.
Well, you know, words are very interesting to me, often to the point of being annoying to people. They say, Holmes, why are you still talking about the meaning of that word? Who cares? I know what they meant. But I'm like, oh, no, it's so interesting. It means one thing to one person, another thing to another person. Indie is still very big in terms of a term that people have latched on to the United States, because I think it speaks to a certain class distinction of like, we're underground, we're like sort of punk rock and poor and dirty and like legit, and we're hip hop and we're scratching records and making video games at the same time. Whereas auteur speaks to like a high classness that for some reason in the United States with game developers, they don't necessarily want to call themselves auteurs. I think they're afraid they're going to sound like they think they're too big for their britches, whereas indie has like a humility to it, which weirdly enough, other people think come off as snobby. I was on Twitter the other day, and you'll never believe this, but somebody was being very rude to me on Twitter. They were saying, you video game journalists, all you care about is being hipsters and impressing indie developers with how cool you are with your wooden glasses and your tight jeans. And my jeans are baggy, and I'm almost 40 years old. I haven't gone to a dance club willingly in probably 20 years. Yeah, I don't feel very hip. But yeah, this is a class war that's going on in the indie game scene here in the United States with gamers who consider themselves, you know, of the people in a way, and indie game developers being seen as like hipster enemies to them a lot of the time. Is there any of that kind of stuff in Brazil, or are these kind of class splits going on amongst gamer community?
I don't think so. The gamer community in Brazil, it's especially the devs, they're awesome. You know,
yeah,
they receive you with open arms and it make you feel the welcome people in the world. You know, I think the gamers in Brazil, they don't really care for the games made in Brazil. You know, because we don't have the big budgets and the big know-how how to do it, know-how for game development. So in their eyes, our games are, I think, the little like they're mid-tier games. You know, I like to play Call of Duty. I like to play Metal Gear Solid and AAA. You know, in Brazil, unfortunately, yet we can't do that. It's very hard here.
And are there a lot of, and forgive my ignorance on this, are there a lot of game blogs or game websites that are focused specifically on the Brazilian audience, writing in Portuguese and whatnot, and making sure that it's something you can consume in Brazil? Or do you have to go to the American sites most of the time?
Yeah, there's a lot of Brazilian sites, but I don't think they cover Brazilian games specifically. They cover all games, you know. So even then, we have to struggle to get published, even in Brazil, you know. The same way we have to struggle to be published abroad. I think it's the most difficult thing here in Brazil, is to get noticed by the bigger audience, especially the US, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, I was talking about the East Wheeler earlier. She works for Joymasher. They struggled as well, but for whatever reason, they managed to be in the right place at the right time and get their games Oniken and Odalis noticed.
Their games are awesome.
Yeah, that helps too. Having good games helps too. And you, with Cyber Rhino, you had a successful Kickstarter for Gryphon Knight Epic. So you've also proven, in my opinion anyway, that you've been able to crack into, at least get started on cracking into the audience in the United States and perhaps in Brazil. But you would know better than me. Did you feel like Gryphon Knight Epic, the Kickstarter, was a success and that you managed to get people to notice you?
Yeah, in an extent, yes. We got I think we got the first layer of people. You know, I want to get deeper and get noticed by a lot of other people, but we managed to be noticed at least. You know, we didn't manage to be like popular. You know, people. I think people noticed us, but we couldn't get deeper in the core of the audience. You know.
Sure, but it was what, if I remember correctly, 19,000 or around 20,000 that you made off the Kickstarter.
19,000. 19,000.
You know, for my money, that's pretty good. That's
good. That's very good.
But at the same time,
especially if you put into account that it's our first game.
Yeah.
You know, we are nobodies. Nobody knows who we are. So it's awesome that 480 people gave money to us. You know,
how many?
It's great. 480.
480. Oh, I thought it was 880, which would have been kind of low. 480 still. They had faith in the project. They liked the look of it and the idea of it enough to have faith, and then you delivered, which is more than a lot of Kickstarters have said. So you've already succeeded by delivering the game, which came out Last week or 2 weeks ago?
Last week, 20th, in the 20th.
Oh, right. That's the day. Oh, my God. I sounded just like the skinny African-American gentleman from the film. I'm blanking on a name, too, just like how you did. Not Hotline Miami, but it's a karate movie where they stick toes up a guy's nose. You must have seen it.
I don't remember.
The theme song is Friends for Eternity, Honesty, Integrity. You know what? No?
No, I don't remember.
It's also the ending theme song to Far Cry Blood Dragon. Anyway, I sounded exactly like a squeaky African-American gentleman from that movie for a second. Sorry for the tangent. Anyway, yeah, my son was born on the 20th. Gryphon Knight Epic and my son are like the same person.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh, thank you. So I made this son with a team. We had a development team. My wife and I, we made a baby, and now he's out there, and we have to
hard on it.
Yeah, we did. It was stressful. It took 9 months. Now he's here. We don't know what kind of person he's going to turn out to be, and how he's going to be received by the world. I don't know when you put out your video game, which you worked on for. How long did you work on Gryphon Knight Epic for?
Almost 2 years.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we're only 3 people. We're only 3 people in the team, so it's very intense to work in a big project. Because Gryphon Knight Epic is a big project for a three-person team.
Absolutely. You know? And your role on the team, what did you do?
Yeah, I'm the jack of all trades, like the guy who makes I'm a programmer, game designer, and I post on Twitter, I post on Facebook, I manage the Kickstarter, you know, the guy who closes all the holes in the game, in the company.
Sure.
But the other 2 guys are the real technical experts. I have a senior programmer and an awesome artist, and both of them, without them, Gryphon Knight Epic couldn't exist, you know, because of the technical difficulties and stuff.
So you would get in there and design and code, and then your senior programmer would help patch up the holes, and of course the artist would then have to add the artwork after the fact. But still, it's sounding like, and I can relate with this, when you take on a project and decide, this is my company, I'm going to take these risks, I'm going to say to the audience, I'm going to give you these things. It's you who has to make sure that those things happen. If they don't, no one else will be there. So you've probably had to patch up a lot of holes that have come up, and maybe end up working for some pretty long hours, I'm guessing. Yes.
We kind of manage the work hours in a good way, because we didn't have to make like weekends and full 24 hours cycles and stuff like that. We decided that we would work like from 10 to 12 hours a day on Gryphon Knight Epic, and that's it. We're going to stop on weekends, but that's it, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So you put in 60 hours a week, and that's it. That's where you draw.
Yeah.
Still a lot of work for 2 years. Did you get a vacation or anything? Did you take a week off?
No.
No
vacation.
Promote it on Twitter, and what? Did you also take a break from promoting on Facebook and on the internet and Twitter and stuff on weekends?
Yeah, I'm not a great promoter. I'm kind of a hermit of Facebook and Twitter. I don't know how to manage them very well. I try my best, but I know if someone who had the real skills in gathering people, we could have done better. But no, I didn't have any weekend off. If anyone posted a tweet on Sunday or Saturday, I was there to retweet and everything.
I thought so. You've been thinking about Gryphon Knight Epic most of the time you've been awake for the past 2 years.
Yeah, awake awake and sleeping. I dreamed. I was dreaming about Gryphon Night Epic the whole 2 weeks before launch. You know, every day, every day.
Were any of the dreams like, we did it, we're rich, everything's great, or were they all, oh my god, there's a bug and everyone hates us now? Dreams.
Yeah, there was the wow, we're rich, but the most markant, I don't know the word, the most
frequent.
No, not frequent. The most
intense.
Intense, maybe, but the one that I remember most. It was one of my associates sold the game to a big company, took away with the money, and I told him that. He looked at me. How can you think that? Oh, I don't think that. It was just a dream.
Sure. In the back of your head, you had to be wondering how bad it get, and that was probably your worst case scenario dream, that not only the game wasn't going to necessarily go where you wanted it to go, but it was physically going to be taken into somebody else's hand and stolen from you. That would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, it was a nightmare I lived before. You know, I tried to open a company before Cyber Rhino, and one of my associates did something very close to that.
Oh my
God! Took the money out of the bank account, and that's it. The company closed.
Whoa! Was it a lot of money?
And not a lot, but it was what we needed to start. You know, so he kind of cut the whole thing in the roots. I don't know if that I just had the common phrase here in Brazil that is cortar pela raiz. It means to cut something, to block something when it's growing, when it's being born, you know.
Wow.
So
they call that in English sometimes an abortion, but cutting it off at the roots also makes sense. And I'm guessing that even though it wasn't a lot of money, he took proportionally out of all the money you had to work with the game, it was probably a lot. It was probably
a lot, 100%. Yeah.
That's all of it. That's a lot. That's everything. Did you end up suing him? Did you end up getting it back in some way?
Yes, the justice in Brazil, it's almost as slow as our internet connection. So it's still going, you know. Maybe someday.
My God! Well,
but I tried to talk about. I tried to forget. I tried to forget it. Probably my mother is watching this, and she's right now making a facepalm and saying, "I told him not to say that," you know. But
well, we won't bring up any more details of it. I would not want to.
Don't worry, though.
Yeah, it'll be okay. I hope so. I facepalm all the time too. I accidentally scraped a cement thing at a local gas station. Now I've got a big blue streak of paint on my car. I feel like a complete jackass. Sure, I was totally out of sleep because the son was just born, and I'm stressed out about everything about him. He'll like turn slightly pink, and I'll be like, "Oh my God, he's dying!" And you know, we're doing all this new parent.
I know how it
feels. Totally. And do you have any kids yourself?
No, I don't have. But I kind of get too attached to our dog. You know.
Oh yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. I don't intend to compare, but I understand the feeling, you know, of getting worried and this little thing just happened and I don't know what it is, and you get out of proportion and
exactly.
And that's that.
And like a game that you made. Of course, it's different because it's a living being, so you have a different level of empathy and compassion. But with this kid, if anything goes wrong with the kid, it's 100% my fault. Like, it's not the kid's fault at all.
Yeah,
I can't say like, oh, you know, it takes two to tango. He shouldn't have ran into traffic or something. It's like, and likewise with this game, everything that goes right or wrong with it, I imagine you're probably taking personally as a reflection of your worth as a designer, as a programmer, as a game developer, all that stuff. So has it been pretty intense since the game came out?
Yeah, it was pretty intense. In the end, I think we we hit the spots where we aimed for. That's making a challenging game with a retro feel, mix from R-Type and Mega Man. And I think we hit that spot perfectly. I know some people didn't like the game, but that's okay. You know, people don't like every game. At the same time that someone didn't like the game a lot, there's another person who said to me it was the best game I played to 2015, and that means 100 of the other, you know, for me.
Oh, that's great. Has it been hard for you though? Like you just said, someone who says it's their favorite game of 2015, that means 100 times more to you than someone who said they didn't like the game. But has it been hard for you to manage getting negative feedback kind of for the first time on your first project?
Yeah.
Has it been painful?
Yeah, it has been hard for me. I thought I had a much better armor than I really had, but I think it's a learning experience. You know, like I commented on a review, it's with feedback and critics that we grow. So we made a bullets on all the problems that were mentioned on every review and tried to fix it. So our first patch was released, I think, 2 days ago, and all these problems are at least attenuated. I don't know if that word
addressed, maybe.
Addressed, yes.
Huh. And what were some of the problems that you saw pop up a lot, or at least things that people mentioned were problems?
Yeah, I think the difficulty curve of the game was a bit steep. The boss encounters didn't have the most perfect tail animations for some attacks. We added them, and after that, everyone that played got a much smoother ride to for the game. We also addressed some problems with money inside the game, like the money you win on each difficulty and the upgrades you can buy. These were the main concerns that almost everyone in the reviews mentioned. So we fixed them.
Whoa! I don't know if Jed Whitaker, who reviewed the game for Destructoid.com, if I remember correctly, those were two things he mentioned in his review, and he gave it, you know, on a curve, a pretty low score. And I know he was excited about the game. And then he sounded awfully grumpy in the review. When I was reading his review, I was thinking, geez, Jed, grumpy. I played the game too. I haven't beaten it yet. I've been busy with baby and whatnot, but I love the art style, love the mechanics. I love, like you mentioned, for people who haven't played Gryphon Knight Epic, it's got big, colorful 16-bit style graphics. I would place it in like a little bit more detail than like your Mega Man 7. In terms of
we use Mega Man 7 as a
template?
Starting ground. A template, yes, perfect. Template.
Yeah, I got a definite Mega Man 7 feel from it, but like you mentioned, R-Type, in that R-Type is a game that I grew up loving on the TurboGrafx 16. I think I first played it like 1989 on a Japanese exchange student's PC Engine. I was totally in love with R-Type. I still love it today. I was just thinking about it the other day. It's got so many sexual metaphors. Do you remember like all the erectile-looking tissue flying around in level 2? That game is bonkers.
Yeah, they got a lot of influence from Alien, and Alien has a lot of the same sexual metaphor, so it's probably there.
Yeah, it stands to read. Interesting, though, a little side tangent. In the 80s, and I just wrote about Konami maybe a month ago, and how Konami was really, to me, the company who did this the most, but Capcom did it too. I think IREM made R-Type. So a lot of companies did it. They were like, you know what video games need? More like Hollywood sexual metaphors. We need to like borrow from Alien or Predator, and a lot of people think the Predator has like a vagina face. For some reason, video games in that era they didn't want to like go forward with their own kind of adult material, but they borrowed heavily from Hollywood, often to great success, even if it involved giant penis monsters and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not with Gryphon Night Epic. I didn't notice that there's an elephant, but that would be quite a stretch to say that that's phallic in any way, because it's just its elephant trunk. You can't help it.
Yeah, it's just an elephant. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We didn't try to insert any sexual innuendo in the game. If there's some, it wasn't intentional, you know.
Huh. Well, now I'm going to look for
maybe,
some, just in case.
Maybe,
sure.
I don't know.
And if enough reviewers say, you know, needs more penis shapes, maybe we'll get a patch. Maybe we'll get a penis patch.
Yeah. No, I don't think we made a patch of everything the reviewers told.
Sure.
We chose which words we really wanted to hear, you know. I don't know if I'm expressing right, but we didn't want to make that guy that said that it was the best game in 2015 to think that we were going to change the whole game because someone said so.
Sure.
So we filtered the comments and the problems mentioned and fixed what we thought it was a problem, a real problem, you know.
Right. Well, this show you're on right now, this show at this point, after 3-4 years we've been on, 3.5 maybe, we've more or less filtered out all the people who are just never going to like it. At first, people listened to it and were like, "Oh, I thought it was going to be funny. This sucks," and they're long gone. So we don't get that kind of feedback anymore. But when we do get craft-related feedback, like the sound quality was terrible, then we try to fix the sound quality or whatnot. So it sounds like you did a similar thing. You didn't listen to the feedback of people who were just never going to like Gryphon Night Epic because it wasn't a game that was designed for them, but for the people who wanted it to be crafted slightly differently in terms of, like you said, the in-game economics and the boss fights being a little bit less difficult. You tune that craft without messing with the art of it, without messing with the idea of it too much.
Exactly. We aimed to make a game that mixed shoot 'em ups and adventure games. Not adventure point and click, but you know, the Mega Man style.
Yeah, like a mascot platforming adventure.
Yeah. That's why the hitbox is not very small, because we are not a bullet hell. We are an adventurous shoot 'em up, you know. The game doesn't throw you 100 bullets. It throws you maybe 10 at a time. So you have the mobility and the speed to dodge these 10 bullets. You wouldn't have a mobility to dodge 100. So we tuned that to the hitbox size.
Sure.
And we don't intend to change the hitbox size, for example.
Have there been any complaints that people wanted a smaller hitbox but more bullets?
Yeah, mostly from bullet hell fans, you know, but our game is not a bullet hell. So, as you said, this person was not going to like it anyways. Right. So let's make it better for the people who it's aimed for.
Sure. I think it might have been last week on the show where we had Clobit on, Eric and Kat. Eric, I already have a feeling you two would get along. He decided to be a game developer when he was 12 as well. I think it was on that show when we talked about how reviews on Steam, there's a Tumblr site dedicated just to reviews on Steam that say something like, worst game I've ever played, nobody should ever buy this, and then you see how many hours they played it, and it's like 1,100 hours. So have you found that there are people who clearly played the game and maybe played it and enjoyed it, but for some reason have this urge to say something bad about it, or have you not experienced that?
Yeah, I watched one stream that the person was complaining the whole experience, but he never stopped, you know. So I was telling my associates, like, man, if this guy is complaining but is still playing, I don't care. He's liking the game, even though he doesn't know he's, you know. So we have one case of that particular instance of the streams.
Sure, and I'm gathering it was a stream that somebody put out there in order to entertain others. It wasn't just like a hidden camera of him playing it and he was just loudly complaining to himself the entire time he was playing it. It was something he was clearly, I'm assuming it was a guy, he was trying to entertain. So you're in this new era, you're in this 2015 era of video game reviewers who think they need to either be scared or angry for anyone to be entertained by them. And this is one of the major complaints I hear about the video game press all the time. Valid, sometimes very angry complaints saying you guys are making it about you and trying to further your careers, and you don't care about your audience, your readers, and you don't care about the people who made the game either. You'll step on anybody you see fit in order to get to where you want to go. I hopefully have never done that. I've never done that consciously. For whatever reason, I've never been all that ambitious with my career as a video game blogger. If I just write on Sundays about games like yours or other relatively new unknown games, oh, my dog got
probably
out.
Probably that's why a lot of people love you.
I don't know about that. A lot of people hate me too. I was called the most corrupt man in game journalism the other day. I was shocked. Oh, look at, I forgot to show you. This is a magazine we made. It just came in the mail. Isn't that neat?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the main character of Bloodstain, the new Koji Igarashi video game. Oh, I'm so happy this is a Smash Brothers guide that we wrote. I'm very lucky to have gotten to do that, even though I've never been all that ambitious. But anyway, yes, dealing with difficult reviewers. I think
that this can happen. I think that reviewers should be a little more, how can I say, responsible on some things that they say, like labeling a game, because nowadays games can be patched, you know. So probably that review is going to be there forever. And for example, I'm going to use the example of the Destructoid review.
Sure.
The review called us shit, you know.
In the sub headline, if I remember, it was half Gryphon, half Lion, half shit, which is 3 halves.
Yeah.
For joke, but still, for you, that wasn't a very funny joke, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's just because it's a label. We're going to carry the whole life, you know, the whole life of the product, and probably most of the things that are there as a problem, maybe they're fixed already, you know. So I think it's a bit too harsh to use these kinds of labeling on something that can be worked on. And I think reviewers might want to adapt to that new situation where games are constantly being updated. You know, about the thing that you said, that some reviewers may want to grow themselves instead of showing the game. I think that's kind of dangerous too, especially when you want to do a strict and very professional review. I think you shouldn't be streaming when you do that, because you're more concerned about entertaining your audience than really playing the game, playing and understanding the game. You know, and I think that reviewers and the developers are going to fit into place sometime, but today is a bit harsh, you know. It's a bit harsh that these things still happen, you know.
Not only that.
I hope things get better, you know, but it's just that.
I hope they get better too. It's a strange place we're at these days, where culturally, video game culture, video game enthusiast culture, I'm not sure if the cream always rises to the top in any part of this culture, whether the best writers, the best video reviewers, the best game developers too. I'm not sure if they end up getting lifted up to the place where maybe they could be because of the way the culture is right now, which a lot of reward for negativity. I think Angry Video Game Nerd, God bless him, he has influenced a whole culture of people who are like, I'm going to talk about video games, I'm going to be angry about it, and then people are going to think I'm funny. It's kind
I think the main difference, the main difference between what Angry Video Game Nerd did and the nowadays the reviewers is that he was attacking, and I don't know if this gesture it's okay. He was attacking games that were 20 years old. You know, they're not selling. He's not really making people crafting. I don't know if it's crafting, molding people opinion. You know, he was not doing that. He was just entertaining people in expense of a shitty old game. You know, and these reviewers, these new angry reviewers, might be doing that in expense of a starting company, for example. You know,
and probably more importantly, at least the viewers and the readers would say, more importantly, if you twisted your review to be angry just to be entertaining, and then because of that, I didn't play a game that it would have turned out I would have really liked. By your viewers, your readers.
In the end, I think the reviewer and player relationships should be more like, if I like the tastes of this person, I'm going to subscribe to him and play the games he plays. But I personally think that, for example, scores are kind of outdated, you know, because the same way, it's a label. It's something you're going to carry forever. You know, as the games are so dynamic today, it shouldn't be like that. You know, you shouldn't have to carry your early mistakes for the whole existence of the product. You know?
Already, Gryphon Knight Epic has been a game that's a different game than a lot of people reviewed, but realistically, are they going to go back and update their reviews? Probably not, because they're busy playing Metal Gear Solid or whatever new game, and as it is these days, working for a game blog and just being someone who's in the game enthusiast culture, I can tell you, if you don't stay on top of whatever is newest, no one's going to pay attention to anything you say. So
it's very hard, because I understand that the reviewer and the blog person wants to be on top of things. He wants to grow as well. It's kind of okay, you know, because he's doing that for his own sake. I just don't like when you have to put something down because of it. You know, just that. It's like our great friend Spider-Man said, with big powers comes great responsibility. So great powers, great responsibility. So
that is exactly right. And I think that a lot of game bloggers and reviewers forget that they have any responsibility, because they don't feel like they have all that much power. Like when I review a game, I never think, oh my God, people are going to care what I think. I think I'm going to try to say what I think the most. I'm going to try to explain why I had this relationship with this game as well as I can. But I never think that anyone's actually going to care. Like when I go leave the house, sometimes I'll get recognized, which is neat, because I was on a reality show like 18 years ago. And also I was on a podcast and people thought was kind of funny. And I've done things, nobody's ever like saw me in the streets and been like, oh my God, you reviewed Skyward Sword. That was awesome, dude. Like I don't get any reflection that it really matters. And in the comment sections of Destructoid and other sites that I might have done things for, or Game Fan, you just don't get the sense there that what you wrote made a heck of a lot of difference to thousands of people, but it often really does. We have more importance and power than we realize, and I think it's good to get that reminder. So I appreciate it.
It does, because most people don't comment. They read it, they absorb it, and they make their own decisions based on that, probably.
Sure.
I, for one, stopped caring for one review in specific. I try to read as many as I can when when deciding to purchase a game. But since we work on it as a developer, I almost buy everyone that interests me, because we have to keep updated as well.
Sure.
So in the end, the more you see, the more opinions you see, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a phrase. I don't know the exact word for it. It's a jargon. I don't know if it's a jargon too.
I'm excited about this jargon or slang.
Yeah, it's kind of a slang, but it's dirty. But I'm going to talk it anyway.
Oh, please do.
If you don't mind.
No, I'm begging you.
In Brazil, we say everyone.
I'm excited about this.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, so that's it.
And it stinks or something like that. Yeah.
Not exactly that stinks, but everyone has your own, and just make yours. So read as much as you can, know as much as you can before you settle on an opinion. And
this is so much better than the American equivalent of that, or the English equivalent. The English equivalent is everyone opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one and they all stink. But yours is opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, and make it your own, and treat it like an individual. Treat it with respect, and treat every asshole with respect. What a wonderful! I want to move to Brazil. You folks seem a lot more open-minded and kind than the mean Americans I'm dealing with every day. Making fun of me.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of Americans, but yes, in Brazil we are very open-minded.
Yeah, America is too.
That's one good thing of the whole mixture and stuff. You get to know every side of stories, so that's great.
I think it's just all the shootings in the United States have me in the back of my head. I'm fantasizing about moving constantly. It was a week ago today that here in the Boston area, two guys went to a Pokemon tournament with like shotguns, planning on shooting it up, and luckily the cops caught them before it happened. And I think the day after that there was a shooting that actually the shooter managed to follow through with his plan. Live news is terrifying. Living in
this kind of things, this kind of things happens in the U.S., right? In Brazil, they might, but the U.S. is famous for that. It's very odd, in my opinion. I can't relate with that people, So
neither can I. I think I read somewhere that even though the United States, and this is off the top of my head, so it could be wrong, even though the United States has like 4.4% of the world's population, it has something like a third of all the guns in the world, something like that. So, the more guns you have, the more likely they're going to get in the hands of somebody who's going to use them in a terrible way like that. Brazil. And in Brazil, you have like a cake.
You never visit?
No, I've never been. I've had the Brazilian cake. It's got potato sticks on it and like chicken meat in it and like coated mashed potatoes. What a delicious meat cake you guys make.
I heard that on Thais'.
Oh, did you watch her episode?
Yes. I think she's right. I think she's right about the stroganoff. But one thing I don't know if I'm right, but I think stroganoff is originally from Russia, not Brazil. We have it a lot here. We eat it a lot here, but the original place is Russia. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not. I'd have to do some food history research to be sure on that. So more on Gryphon Night Epic. Was it made in a language that it's possible that it will come to consoles at any time, or do you feel like it's most certainly stuff going to be on computers?
No, they will be launched in consoles in the next few months. I don't know if I can say that, but it's scheduled to appear on consoles.
That's really exciting. Can you give us an idea of which consoles it might be? What those consoles might rhyme with?
I really don't know if I can say it. I really don't know.
Hey Haitian, the Hey Haitian more, Hey Haitian Ida. No,
could be, yes.
The EU, the EDS.
No, I can't spoil.
I understand. I was just having some wordplay jokes with you. We'll find out.
I have to read the contract to know if I could say something.
Sure. And are you doing the console ports yourself, or are you working with somebody else on that?
Yeah, we're doing ourselves. Yeah.
Good grief, that is not a small amount of work.
Yeah, you can't have good things if you don't work, right? So. Let's try as hard as we can.
I wish Uncle Ben had said that to Spider-Man. We would have had a very different movie. That's also very, very good advice. So this is a question I ask a lot of the people on the show, and I never get sick of asking it, and the answers are always different, which makes it exciting for me. You could have taken the safe path. You could have just kept working for studios and gotten a paycheck and maybe worked on your own games on the side or at night. And a lot of, I believe Mike Bithell just came out with Volume, very neat video game. My old podcast friend Jim Sterling did voices on it. Before that, he had Thomas Was Alone. He worked on Thomas Was Alone when he was working on, I believe, social games, Facebook games, not unlike the kind that you worked on. So he worked on that stuff at night. He sort of played it safe. And then after Thomas Was Alone did well, he went all in. You went all in before that. You went all in 2013 with Gryphon Night Epic. What do you think it was that caused you to be willing to take that risk? Risking your career, risking your money, risking all that stuff?
Yeah, I was in a place in my professional life that I really didn't like. I was working with I don't know, casino games. I really hated it. So to make this jump, to make this all in, it was easy for me because yes. I had the chance and I had to grab it. So I just jumped, you know, because yes, I could have stayed in that company that I was working, but it was awful, you know, working there. So
casino games, like gambling games?
Gambling games, yes, gambling games.
Yeah. And what was it about working on gambling games you think that made you feel as badly as you did?
I made the math.
You made the math?
Yeah. So I knew exactly how things work underneath. So it's not great, you know.
So in terms of
just that.
So you did the math, you knew how things worked underneath, and you discovered that people were losing a lot of money and not getting much from it. Is that what bothered you?
Yeah, it's like that. I don't know if you ever talked to someone that worked in the gambling industry, but one thing that it amazed me when I got into it is that the machines return 95% of every penny that goes inside it. You know, they return a lot of money, but they keep 5%. So in the long run, you always lose. You know, the longer you play, the more chance you have of having nothing in the end.
Right.
At the same time, I understand that that's fun for a lot of people to gamble, to put the money, and it's not different from buying a game where you pay like $60 to get 20 hours of fun. It's kind of the same, but the whole industry revolves about revolves into how to take money from people and make them feel like they like it, you know, and that was just not good for me. So I had to leave, you know.
Who is it? You worked in the industry long enough that you must have met the people who that was good for. I consider myself lucky. I have several jobs. All of my jobs involve working with people who are really excited about video games or are really excited about just helping people. So those are my two careers that I've been lucky enough to be a part of. I've never worked that closely with people who are just excited about getting money out of somebody's wallet and in a way tricking them. Like you said, all game design is kind of a trick because you're giving people a feeling that something happened when really all that happened is they pressed buttons and looked at a screen. They didn't actually. But I'm of the belief that experience you can have with a video game can be as fulfilling as a real life experience. If the game really touches you and it has feelings that are genuine that are coming between you and the developer, then it's just another way of communicating. It's just like talking or listening to music or anything else. Whereas gambling, I don't know what ideas are getting. In gambling, all that's being communicated is maybe I'm going to be a good person who has money, or maybe I'm not. And then you find out. That's not like
I think the people who run these things are very, very, very money oriented. You know, they just want the more money is better, and that's it. They don't really care for the experience of he puts out to the player or even the gambler. You know, it can be done correctly. It can be done in a way that yes, the person will lose money because that's how the industry gets money.
Sure,
but the person will be happy and the person has the slight chance of winning money. So that makes the person still play. But most of the people who work on that front, maybe they just want the money, you know. So it was just not the place for me, you know. I had to
imagine it's a little bit like working on like an even more delicious French fry that will just give you diabetes for sure.
Yeah,
just make you fat and sick. But like, how can we get them to eat it and then love it even more? How can we market junk food? It's basically, to me, gambling is the game, video game or otherwise, equivalent of junk food. It feels good, but it leaves you with less health or less worth or less good than you had before. Yeah. So you got out of the junk food industry, basically.
Yes, basically. I had this discussion with a friend once, and I had the bad costume. No, it's not costume. The bad habit of practice habit of when I was younger. Okay, of judging certain people, like people who smoke. Why they smoke? They're dumb. They know that this is bad for them. But for instance, I love meat and steak, and it's not exactly good for you. And a friend of mine said, "But it's just like eating meat. You chose that. You chose to enjoy the meat, even if it's going to make your heart stop it. I don't know, but you know." And gambling is the same thing. I just feel that people should know what they're into, but the choice is all theirs, you know.
Right.
The same way I choose to eat meat and someone chooses to smoke, the person has to be conscient.
Yeah, they have to be conscious of, and that shows a lot of respect. You know, I probably get caught up a little bit too much in wanting to protect people from being deceived and being used, because all that stuff makes me super sad. But you, very respectful towards people, as long as they know that gambling is a risk and they'll probably lose. But if they say that's what's fun for them, then absolutely, I'm all for people doing whatever is fun for them as long as they're not hurting anybody else. But at the same time, I can't help but think, you know, to use game design elements in order to not deliver any ideas, but instead just treat people like a rat in an experiment lab and try to get them to do what you want them to do in order to get money out of their pocket. Just seems like it was maybe kind of a soulless industry. Did you work alongside people who were like powerful in that industry who you thought, what a great guy? They're like, you know, super nice. I want to hang out with them later.
Yeah, it's exactly as you said. It's soulless, and that's why I couldn't be there. Even though I respect, it's just not for me, you know.
Yeah.
At the same time, I want to eat meat. I don't want anyone to say to me and say, you can't eat that. It's bad for you, and take out of my plate. I don't want anyone to do that.
Well,
I can't do that.
It's similar. There's a lot of talk here in the United States recently, and I don't know how it is in Brazil. I don't know if prostitution is legal or not. Thais actually spoke a little bit about prostitution versus being a fashion model when she was on the show. So prostitution is legal there. That makes a lot more sense to me. You don't want to damn people who want to work in the sex industry or people who want to hire sex workers, but you want to look at if that industry is using people, and if the industry, the system itself is insidious and is abusive inherently in the way it is in the United States. Yeah, in Brazil?
Here in Brazil, it works something like that. If you are independent, it's okay. But you can't have a place that employs this kind of worker and takes money from them. You know, you can't be a pimp. You can be a prostitute, but you can't be a pimp.
That sounds great. It's the pimps.
Yes, exactly. I think it's great. I think it's let people work with what they want.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about what a pimp is, and a lot of people have told me that game publishers at their worst are just like pimps because they don't do any of the work. They don't have any of the relationship between the consumer and the provider. They just collect the money and manage it and act as though they have importance when really they are just using everybody, those jerks. Sorry if there's any pimps on the show. And game publishers. All pimps and nothing. We're all like that. But I keep thinking of Konami in the back of my head while you've been talking, because they've moved towards just doing gambling, like pachinko machines. They've parted ways with Hideo Kojima. They're not making decent games anymore. They've kind of become the worst pimps in the industry, in my opinion, as of right now.
Yeah, and that's very, very, very sad.
Isn't it, though? Did you grow up playing Konami games? Did you used to like them? Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Huh. Well, thank goodness you're
awesome.
out there and people like you are out there trying to carry forward the kind of games they used to make, keep those traditions alive.
I hope we can.
Yeah, I know. All you can do is try, right? So getting into indie development, it's definitely got soul. You're definitely leading a real emotionally fulfilling and genuine life, but it's got a lot more extreme ups and downs, I would imagine, than just working for a company. Right now, where do you feel like you're at? Like, have you had ups and downs during the course of Gryphon Knight Epic? And right now, do you feel like you're out of a down, or you're headed towards one? How are things going?
Yeah, we had a luck on when getting the means to make the Gryphon Knight, means to making Gryphon Knight Epic. I was born into a great family, and they helped me a lot in this time of indie development. And now we have to just sell the game, not very much, to make another, you know. But we might be in the farthest point before the cliff, you know, because we have to sell. It's now or never, you know. We're optimistic about that, but we can't do anything more than just wait and hope, you know. But of course we can come to sub homes and come to other things to make people know about the game and hope they like it. But in the end, it's in the hand of the consumer. So we might be going to a down, but it's not there yet. You know, we are doing the consoles, we are doing the patch, we still have breath to fulfill the whole Gryphonite product.
Sure.
We just hope it sells well.
And I've heard from so many developers, you hope it sells enough. I was talking to Megan Fox on Twitter. I don't know if we were even talking, actually. Maybe we were, just briefly. She was on the show forever ago. She worked on a Lego MMO, I think. She's had a very interesting career. Her most recent game is called Had a Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, or just Hot Tin Roof, I mean. She had her most sales, I think, ever during just like this random sale that happened like a week ago. Her game's been out for like 8 months, and she's like, I kind of seen the trajectory of it, and sure, it's been out for a while, it's going down. All of a sudden, spike. So all the downsides of the industry as it is today, with people trying to make a name for themselves with negativity and whatnot, and games still being scored, even though you get a score when you come out, and then your game's totally different a week later, but you're still stuck with that score. All these downsides are hopefully offset by the upside that games can sell in an evergreen way like they never could before. And if you get on let's say hypothetically you end up on PlayStation and you get on PlayStation Plus, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, this game's really awesome, I'm going to tell my friends about it. And you could see sales surge out of nowhere. Somebody says, oh, we want to put you on the next console that's coming out, even though your game's old.
And actually, we had a very low budget because Brazil, our currency here in Brazil, it's like $1/3 of a dollar. So in dollars, we had a very low budget. And if we don't make it, I think it's very odd that the industry can't support someone with a low budget, you know? It would be very strange, but it can happen, you know? I just hope we... Yeah, exactly.
This industry, anything can happen. Friggin' Flappy Bird makes like, $100 million. An incredibly well-made game may just not get talked about and therefore not get played. As you know, it's not just getting someone to play your game and enjoy it. It's getting them to take a chance on it in the first place. And if you can have the greatest game in the world, but if for whatever reason it's not the kind of game people are going to be willing to take a chance on, at that time, no one will know. You see it happen all the time. I think personally, because your art style is so charming and likable, people are going to give.
Thank you.
It's true. I think if I didn't write about the game, I sent in a tip back in 2013 about it when he first launched the Kickstarter because I like the look of it. I was like, they're adapting traditional cartoon style with graphics that remind me a lot of Sega Saturn era, like just the end of the 16-bit era.
You were one of the first person that got it right. You know, people usually say that it's 16-bit or 8-bit. I've heard 8-bit when talking about your game. Okay. But our game it's like you said, it's PlayStation era or Sega Saturn era, and it actually is in between Super NES and PlayStation and Sega Saturn.
What a great place to be. That was one of my favorite places in video games.
Exactly. That's why we chose that particular style.
Sure.
We wanted to make something that people from the SNES era would look and, oh, that's great, but with a plus, with enhancements.
Right.
And as I said before, I think we hit the spot for us for the target of for the target we set for us.
Sure.
Maybe it was not the right target for the industry, but we delivered what we wanted to deliver.
And again, you never know. The way things are now, let's say the real best time for Gryphon Night Epic, for whatever reason, the time it's going to strike a chord with people is in 2 years. It'll still be there in digital storefronts.
Yeah.
It'll always have a chance, and it could get ported forward to PlayStation 5 whenever that comes out. You can end up being a hit there. It's so great for me to see games have the potential to live past that like month-and-a-half window where it used to be if you didn't sell then, forget it. Now you've got a chance forever. It's great.
Sure. Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited for you. Do you already know what you might want to work on next after Gryphon Night Epic?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Let's say that we made a shoot 'em up. We want to make something other 'em up.
I hope that's not code for something. I hope that's actually the genre. Something other.
Yeah.
So you're just something othering.
Okay.
The entire game. Yeah, just figure it out. We're not going to tell you. You're smart.
Yeah.
Do it like you used to on gambling games. Oh, crap. We started a little late, but we've gone a little late. We're about out of time. I have to walk my dog. My baby is out somewhere, hopefully safe and sound. He's with his mother and in-laws, so I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, I have to go do things.
The safest place to be, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
I'm
I'm in deep paranoia mode. If he's not like within 8 feet of me at all times, I'm a little nervous. Oh, and look at this. Have you ever read the comic strip Boondocks? Ever seen the cartoon?
I don't know.
Someone I've been in contact with. We used to be pen pals when I was 18 in Game Fan magazine, which I've weirdly now written for. Game Fan again. This is so weird. Can't believe I have Game Fan, Destructor on the other side. If you guys aren't getting this, you got to email Game Fan because they're the ones who send it out. They just sent me mine the other day. I was very touched. Anyway, the artist, former artist of Boondocks, not the creator of it, but she drew it later on. She sent my son this turtle shell. Thanks so much, Jen. You're the best. Yeah, I'm so lucky. So lucky to meet you, Sandro. Sandro, they can follow you on Cyber Rhino Studios. Thank you.
Cyber Rhino Great.
Your Twitter handle of choice is Cyber Rhino Studios?
Cyber Rhino Games. Cyber Rhino Games.
Sorry, I keep calling Studios.
No, the name of the studio is Cyber Rhino Studios, but for some reason we couldn't have that Twitter account. I don't really remember why, but we stood with Cyber Rhino Games.
That makes sense. I've done Cyber Rhino Studios. There's so many different kinds of studios, music studios, art studios. I'm sure it was taken by somebody else. And there's a Gryphon Night Epic website they can check out.
Yeah, gryphonnightepic.com.
And if they got the game and want to check out the changes, the patch should be out there. Making boss animations. It's such a to go in there and adjust the craft and the design of your game for the audience. I think you should be rewarded for that. Gosh darn it!
Thank you.
I think people should agree. Not everybody would do that. It shows a real love and respect for your players, your audience. As for me, my pleasure. I'm at Tronauts on Twitter. You can watch this show later on youtube.com/subholmeshow. You can listen to it on Libsyn and iTunes. And I also, weirdly enough, was asked to do a 30-second intro to a video on the Super Best Friends Play channel. It's The Switcher, but Switcher has an I in it. They wanted me to talk about wrestling, so I did. That was so kind of those guys. Very nice. Do you know those guys? It'd be great folks to do a Let's Play of your game one of these days if you want to get in touch with them.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll get you guys in touch. Yeah, Sandro, such a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.